I'm going to talk about his running mate. His running mate, Elon Musk. Elon's on that stage, jumping around, skipping like a dipshit on these things. You know it. Think about it. Think about that. That guy is literally the richest man in the world, spending millions of dollars to help Donald Trump buy an election. Now look, they're saying the quiet parts out loud now because Donald Trump has already promised that he would put Elon in charge of government regulations that oversee the businesses that Elon runs. That's a hell of a buy. He could spend billions to make more than 10 billion on the back end. So in other words, Donald Trump, in front of the eyes of the American public, is promising corruption. I don't believe he keeps many promises, but he'll keep that one. I'll guarantee you he'll keep it.
Hello, everybody. This was my favorite video of the day, and that's how I thought to start. So every day we're going to use a video to give some time for people to join, but also to showcase something that I thought was remarkable. Thank you for joining me. This will be very short, about a half hour, because we will be starting our watch party of Kamala Harris's town hall on CNN, hosted by Anderson Cooper, which will start at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're not signed up, you haven't RSVP'd yet, go ahead and do so. It's in your recent emails. If you're not receiving them, get on the email list. It's ready for you and it's free. So onest.substack.com. So thank you for your support. Thank you for joining. This is actual news. Please join in, share your opinion, ask questions. If you want to discuss something with me or others, use the comment section to do so. Like it, share it, whatever needs to be so people hear more about it. So to the actual news, let's start with the really good news, which debunks a lot of MAGA theories and, quite frankly, lies. So today it was announced a significant drop in border encounters following Biden's executive action. If you can't recall, in June, President Biden issued an executive action after Trump did the most to prohibit Congress from passing that bipartisan deal. So Biden decided to do something and he did it. And now the border crossings are below 55% lower, right? 55% lower. So recent data from U.S. Customs and Border Protection indicates a 55% decrease in border encounters since the executive order on June 4th, marking the lowest levels in nearly 4 years. The Biden-Harris administration had previously achieved a bipartisan agreement to reform immigration laws, which aimed to bolster border security and technology. However, Republican opposition hindered these reforms. The data shows that illegal crossings have declined significantly, with September reporting the fewest apprehensions since 2020. August 2020. So this is some big news. So whenever you read that in the newsletter tonight, share it on whatever platform, because we, you know how you can fight darkness only with light? You can fight disinformation by providing actual information, because people need to know about it. They're about to vote. The biggest concern of the MAGA folk, I'm not sure everybody can listen at this point, but those who may, their biggest concern is the border. Now, here's the result. Literally, the lowest border crossings apprehensions since 2020, border crossings decreased by 55%. Now, also, President Biden announced $20 billion in loans to Ukraine from immobilized Russian assets. So this is a big deal. A big effing deal, right? To quote Biden when he was speaking to Obama about the Obamacare. Now, Why does it matter? We're going to talk about Ukraine. If we don't have the time, we're going to continue tomorrow with whatever I planned and hadn't time to jump into. Now, this $20 billion is not something that you and I pay. This is a loan that will be repaid from the profits off of Russian assets. So, this is a historic initiative to provide 20 billion in loans to Ukraine funded by the profits from immobilized Russian sovereign assets. This effort, part of the broader G7 commitment with a total of $50 billion, aims to support Ukraine as it defends against Russian aggression and begins the rebuilding process. The loans will be repaid through interest from these assets, elevating the burden on U.S. taxpayers. Biden emphasized that Russia will be held accountable for the damages caused and affirmed continued support for Ukraine from the U.S. and G7 allies. Now, if God forbid Trump comes in, that's a different story. Yeah, that we have to see. Probably he would like to take those, profits off of assets to himself. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Now, certainly EU voted yesterday. I reported on it to provide 38 billion euros off of Russian assets, and that just responds to the needs that Ukraine has. Aside from military equipment, what I reported on yesterday is that 10 million people have left Ukraine. They're trying to come back, but there's really nothing to come back to. The housing, work, job market itself, people who own businesses don't even own the building itself, right? Because there's so much has been destroyed. And I know it from my family's example and people who I literally know. So it's not related on some news or whatever reports that some mainstream media gives us. So in order for people to come back and start rebuilding the economy and boosting the economy, there should be an effort to offer them place to be at, right? So those were the very big announcements today from the Biden administration, from Biden himself. And this was really important to report to. Now, tomorrow he'll be in Arizona. And on Friday, he'll be in Philly. Yeah, Friday. He'll be in Philly. Now, Harris campaign launched a Vote for Our Future college tour to mobilize young voters. So now we're back to campaign. So this week, the Harris campaign kicked off the Vote for Our Future Early Vote College Campus Tour, aimed at energizing young voters in battleground states. The initiative encourages students to register and vote early, featuring events such as tailgates, rallies, concerts, and whatnot. Now, this tour is it's accompanied by a new 7-figure ad that is targeting students through social media and out-of-home advertisements on key campuses. The content includes direct-to-camera and lineup-style videos tailored to resonate with young voters. So the tour has already hosted events with Second Gentleman Emhoff at the University of Nevada, Reno, and University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Hello. Alongside appearances by Maya Harris, VP's sister, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at Pennsylvania State University. Upcoming engagements include Governor Walz visiting Duke University in North Carolina. So if you're at those universities, snap some pictures, post some pictures and videos. And on Saturday, October 26th, former First Lady Michelle Obama and Vice President Kamala Harris will travel to Kalamazoo, Michigan for joint Get Out the Vote rally. Again, this is the first appearance of them together. Let's not miss that. That will be on this coming Saturday. And then former President Obama is in Philadelphia with Springsteen on Monday. And Sunday, VP Harris is in Philadelphia too. So, and tonight for the town hall, she's also in Philadelphia. So this is a bit about campaign. Let's check. We have a few comments. AOC, yeah, she's doing good. Yes, Chris. And thank you for joining. Thank you. I haven't announced it, so thank you for being here. Just for clarification, does the data include asylum requests? No, that's illegal crossings, right? So we're talking about illegal crossings. We talk about apprehensions. Asylum is what you file And then you get your, it's a case that you have to file outside of the country. And I know it because I help people file it. And certainly, then you have to fill out the documents. If your case is approved, then you are getting this travel visa, which you can use to enter. And for that, you need certainly an affidavit of support by somebody who's sponsoring you, which really sort of the same thing as U4U, United for Ukraine. But that part has a 2-year limit for Ukrainians. So how do you file if you're illegally entering? Now, illegals, that's a different story. It's not really asylum. They are facing prosecution or human trafficking. They have to file a certain way. It's not a typical asylum. And so when they if they cross the border, they're detained. Chris, to your point, that's the apprehensions at the border that they're referring to. So if they're detained at the border, then they can start building their case right there. And so if the case is approved, then they're released inside the United States, and they're waiting their next step. So they're pretty much skipping that sort of visa process. It's been very overused in the recent decades, really. That fiance visa, right? If somebody's American citizen and invites somebody to marry them who's from overseas or some other country, then they file the case. If the case is approved, they get the fiance visa, and then they come in. So that's sort of the process normally. But again, the problem that Republicans have with the border, as much as Kamala Harris and us all, is if somebody is coming through the border and is released inside the country, and we don't know who the hell that is, right? They don't have a passport, they don't have any identification, and then they're let go because they could have a chance to do so since they're lacking literally personnel. And so this bill that Trump did the most to cancel out pretty much, would have allowed Border Patrol to hire more people, also have more judges, and expedite the process, the legal process. So for that reason, it's very important to go outside of the executive order and have an order, really, law and order that can be applied. And certainly it can be only applied if there's, if it's feasible, right, to be applied. Now, another big one, IMF warns, so this is related to campaign. This week, IMF, International Monetary Fund, are all meeting in DC. And so IMF warns of global growth impact from tariff increases. This is very rare that IMF would come up and talk about an election. And so they came out and spoke exactly about Trump's claims that he wants to increase tariffs. I covered it a few days back. I think it was last week or this Monday. I'm not sure. Secretary Yellen, I think it was this Monday, where she talked about the tariffs, that this will be really hurting, right? At Council on Foreign Relations in New York, in the event last week, U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen described the push for high tariffs as deeply misguided. And so this is very rare that Treasury, IMF will address any election, but they decide to do so, which just shows how impactful this nonsense would be. And so the IMF cautioned that implementing higher tariffs on a significant portion of global trade by mid-2025 could lead to a reduction of 0.8% in the world's economic output next year and 1.3% in 2026, according to its latest World Economic Outlook report. Former President Trump has proposed a 20% tariff on all U.S. imports and 60% tariff on imports from China, while VP Kamala Harris has supported tariff increases on certain Chinese goods during her tenure. Now, Chinese cars, electric cars, because we're trying to build a market for the chips, right? The CHIPS Act, we want to become a valuable player on the world market, and we want to have electric cars. And so for that reason, the tariff is now 100%, just to stop Chinese cars from coming in here. And Tesla cars that are not built within the US, but built in China and shipped fully as is here. So now Others are warning of the possible second Trump turn. Military leaders warn of dangers of a second Trump turn. Harris Walls 2024 hosted today a press call featuring retired military officials. I was on this call. It was surreal. Honestly, was surreal when those tough guys who don't freak out, right? And then this, like, military people who are well known. Kelly, certainly we've heard from him today, but they came out and they were talking very straightforward, without sugarcoating anything. So they hosted a press call featuring retired military officials, including Brigadier General Steve Anderson, Colonel Kevin Carroll, discussing recent comments by former Chief of Staff John Kelly. Kelly characterized Trump as certainly fitting the definition of a fascist and warned of the dangers posed by Trump's authoritarian tendencies. Anderson and Carroll linked these concerns to Trump's pursuit of unchecked power, cautioning that in a second term, he would surround himself with loyalists who would enable his worst impulses. They highlighted past attempts by Trump to weaponize the military and undermine democracy, asserting that without the guardrails that once existed, the risks to America would be even greater. Now, let's connect that to all the rumors that you guys messaged me about. I just came out of a press call, so sorry I couldn't answer. About Trump molesting a girl, and there's a video, and something will come up, and we're waiting as a big thing come up. Now, this is that squirrel, and we all look. This here, that he wants to be Hitler, that he is a fascist, this is the big news. Whatever they're talking about, whether there is a video or not, I'm not, saying there is no video. But what haven't you seen from Trump? He's a rapist. He's a convicted felon. He raped his wife. She put it in her book. He had a whole case of raping a woman at a store. Like, what else are you waiting to see? There's so many videos where, this infamous video where the girl thanks him, she introduces him, she leaves, or she's about to leave, he grabs her by the hand, tries pulling. What else haven't you seen? Will that shock the MAGAville? No. They're going to say, hey, macho, let's go. It's not going to hurt. Now, this shit right here, the fascist story, him studying Nazi clips, this is the big news. But the squirrel movement that media again picks up on, same as McDonald's, same as the penis stuff, same as anything, that's the squirrel thing to divert your attention from what matters. Okay? So for that reason, it's very important to keep your own head on a swivel. See through this, because this gaslighting, that's what he loves. That's what he does. That's what, he thrives from. So, maybe there's a video. Let's see. Now, Vice President Harris spoke out today. She delivered remarks from her residence before leaving the home and going to JBA. Kamala Harris addressed alarming statements made by Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly. She highlighted Kelly's confirmation that Trump expressed a desire for military leaders like those of Adolf Hitler, stating, quote, he wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, unquote, emphasizing Trump's inclination towards loyalty over the constitutional allegiance. Harris criticized Trump's rhetoric, noting that his characterization of fellow Americans as the enemy from within and his unsettling willingness to use the military against citizens. She declared, anyone who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify, in his mind, as the enemy within, referencing judges, journalists, and election officials. She condemned the historical implications of invoking Hitler, calling it deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous. Harris quoted Kelly's assessment that Trump certainly falls into the general definition of fascist and warned of the absence of checks on Trump's power in a potential second term. Concluding remarks, she said, "We know what Donald Trump is or wants. The question in 13 days will be, what do American people want?" And I would also add to it what I said yesterday. How do you want to feel? Remember the anxiety. Aside from that infamous message that he sent to all of us at 4 a.m., here's your favorite president. Everybody got that stupid SMS. He was testing something at 4 a.m., really, and then allegedly fired the guy who was responsible for it. Do you recall that? We had anxiety. We had goddamn anxiety. And people are preparing. I have talks scheduled for next week. People are preparing. I'm talking to German Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to French Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we're planning to start doing something which will be connected to our watch parties. Why? Because we need to survive the 4 years. And even if Kamala Harris wins, there will be so much disinformation that, again, you can only fight with what? Information. Media will suck up to Trump. He loses, he will sue the heck out of Democrats. They will cover just that. Now, we need sources and resources. So for that reason, this newsletter, I'm bugging you with this newsletter, feeling like, like a Pinocchio here, like as if I'm all about the newsletter. I'm not about the newsletter. I'm not about clicks and shares, but I ask you to share it, to like it, whatever, so algorithm could show it to more people. And the newsletter is giving you truthful information. So for that reason, I thank you for joining. Now, here's White House briefing reaction, or White House's reaction in the briefing to the statement that Kelly made about Trump. Take a look.
Is the president aware of John Kelly's assertion that Donald Trump meets the definition of a fascist, and that Trump wanted the kinds of generals Hitler had?
I mean, look, you have heard from this president over and over again about the threats to democracy, and the president has spoken about that. You've heard from the former president himself saying that he is going to be a dictator on day one. This is him, not us. This is him. And it's not just us, the White House, saying this. You've heard it from officials, former officials that worked for the former president, say this as well. So, do we agree? I know that the vice president just spoke about this. Do we agree about that determination? Yes, we do. We do.
See? And we, 13 days to go. We have to call a thing, to quote Germans. Call a baby by its name. I don't know if it exists in English, like this saying, because I grew up in Germany. That's what it was. When I couldn't come to a point, they're like, call the baby by the name. But here's a video. I posted it on Twitter, shitter. But this describes Trump, really. I mean, absolutely. This is the essence of Trump. It's a comedic video, but take a look.
This is your pilot speaking. They tell me the plane is malfunctioning. I'm not surprised. They were very unfair when they gave me this plane. They're giving us bad planes, nasty planes. I think I know a lot more about flying planes even than a lot of the engineers do. I look around and see all the beautiful lights and switches. Nobody knows what they do. They said flip that one and maybe this one. I said let's flip all the switches, but nobody listens. Can I get some pretzels, please?
The scariest part, and one of you commented that, exactly that this literally what he would say, including the pretzels. Maybe it would have been McDonald's. That we're unsure. But the rest, it's scary. Now, here's his dumbass counterpart. Or not counterpart. Teammate. Dumbass teammate. Vance. This is 16 seconds. Watch this.
And so when people talk about politics or policy, they'll be like, oh, well, this person has a PhD. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They may be smart, but I don't care about.
PhD's only 3, doesn't even spell anything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care about, the letters.
PhD doesn't stand for anything. No, it doesn't stand for a pretty huge D. No, Vance, that was a joke. So PhD, a doctor of philosophy. And then again, I'm going to counter your point, Vance and MAGA, if you, for some chance stepped into this live stream. It does not relate to philosophy. You can have doctor of philosophy, PhD in math and science and whatever. It's just a name. It's like you are interested in more information that usual folks interested in a specific subject. Okay, you follow me? Yeah. So doctor of philosophy is the highest level of academic achievement a student can earn. It's a terminal degree that's typically pursued by students who want to pursue an academic or research career. What a dumbass, really. Failed business person, VC. Now think, where did he get the money from? Growing up with a single mom with a bunch of problems and issues, where did he get money to invest? And he was a failure there too. Now he's serving to Peter Thiel. And after 2 years in Congress, this guy is this close from presidency. Not vice presidency, presidency itself. We have 25th Amendment. We all know Trump is nuts. MAGA folk knows it too. Not the people with the hats and all. Those who rule that party. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. I think he's a clown of that crowd. Thiel is leading it, right? We saw some other guy today, Eckerman, whatever his name is. He spoke on Twitter, Shitter. He gave an interview. He said that Biden was responsible for, what was the thing? Something that did happen under Bush. Maybe you guys saw it. Let me know. But it was like, it made absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. Something that happened under Bush, Biden was responsible for. These guys have absolutely no idea. They just listen to something that Putin tells them or whatever to do. Now, yesterday, the guy with the hat who serves for RT, RT paid him to spread misinformation, mainly about Ukraine. Yesterday, he has a pretty successful podcast in MAGA world. I'm not going to name his name, but you probably know who I'm talking about. He came out yesterday and said that he will be focusing suddenly on getting a girlfriend, wifing her up, and having children. So for that reason, he's too tired to continue. Please do. Yes, I don't want to name his name, but whatever. Yeah, you guys got it. Jumping in the pool. Yes, imagine Cannon being Attorney General. Yeah. Okay, let's quickly talk about BRICS, and then we have about like 7 minutes, and I'll let you go, and we jump into the watch party. So whatever I couldn't process today or deliver today, we begin with that tomorrow. But if you missed this live stream at the beginning, go ahead and watch it. We started right away with the video of the day, which I really like. So go ahead and just watch the beginning. It's not too long anyway. So the BRICS summit, the BRICS, it's originally comprising Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and South Africa. Now has this year expanded to include Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. The summit is taking place over several days from 22nd to 24th this week in Kazan, Russia. Now, today, finally, Secretary Austin and later John Kirby confirmed that they see reports of North Koreans in Russia. I mean, this is a video of North Korean generals walking on the Red Square in Moscow, taking pictures with fans today. You see, finally, goddamn. So, with welcome to Kazan, in Kazan, Russia, today arrived Secretary General Guterres of the United Nations. The guy traveled all the way from New York to arrive there to join the party run by Russia, murderer, rapist, right? Joined by Iran, joined by Taliban. Take a look. That's him arriving, tasting some bread.
Welcome to Kazan. Second to the summit of
А это татарское блюдо. Чак-чак.
Tatar traditional.
Да, попробуйте.
Piece of work. He claimed that he's joining BRICS here, attending, because it represents half of the world. Meanwhile, Ukraine organized a peace summit hosted in Switzerland back in June, attended by 100 countries, including our own Kamala Harris, representing US, obviously, which he declined the invitation to. He did not travel there, but he would travel to this piece of whatever. Now, he is set to meet with Putin tomorrow, October 24th. Do you know what October 24th is? I'm going to help you. President Biden proclaims October 24th as United Nations Day. We're celebrating 80 years of United Nations tomorrow on October 24th, the day Secretary General decided to spend not New York at the headquarters, but in Kazan, meeting with Putin, with Taliban, with Iran, and having a great time. Now, Ukrainians authorities now issued a video in Korean, spreading it all over, encouraging Koreans, once they're in Ukraine, to surrender, which certainly for them would be the break-free situation, since they would be leaving North Korea and just, they presented the facilities, how they're going to live. So take a look.
북한에서 새로 도착한 전쟁 포로를 수용하기 위해 가까운 장래의 전선의 여러 부문에서 포로가 된 최초의 북한 점령군이 이곳에 도착할 것입니다.
So anyway, they said they're going to be fed 3 times a day, meat, vegetables, bread, rice, whatever you want, right? Putin was also meeting with Turkey today. The day in Ankara, there was a terrorist attack. But again, Turkey decided to meet with Putin. Fantastic. Now, Ukraine's foreign ministry criticized UN Secretary General's visit, stating that the UN Secretary General declined Ukraine's invitation to the first Global Peace Summit in Switzerland. He did, however, accept the invitation to Kazan from war criminal Putin. This is a wrong choice that does not advance the cause of peace. It only damages the UN's reputation. I would say, take it apart. Dismantle it. It's not functioning. UN folks are joining Hezbollah and Hamas in Gaza. That's why they're being detained and whatever. And the rumor is, oh, they're being shot, whatever. Well, if you wear a UN vest, but meanwhile you're standing with a rifle shooting at civilians, probably something should be done with you. And then they're doing this. Now, Guterres is the one who facilitated the deal for Russia to keep trading, even to avoid sanctions. There are letters and emails he wrote instructing Russia how to avoid sanctions to keep being profitable during the war. Yikes. Okay. Now, we haven't covered the North Korea part. And that's where I will stop and continue with tomorrow. Please join us now at the watch party. Something that is really fun and cool. 1 minute to finish on a good note. Yesterday was a day in history at the NBA. LeBron James and Bronny were together as the first father-son duo on the court. So take a look.
History tonight. The first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game.
But this is what LeBron did before they head to the game.
All right, bet. I got you. Yo. Come on.
Hey, Rook. Better not be late.
Yo, are you serious? Come on, man.
Hey, clean up my driveway. It's a mess.
Yo, you too old for this. What's going on, bruh?
So tomorrow I will be attending the celebration for New York Liberty, who won the WNBA championship after many years. So this will be from 7 to 10. It's an official thing at Barclays Center, so I will go live earlier. And if you missed that, please join at any point after. Okay. So again, thank you so much for joining. See you at the watch party, and whatever I missed out on today, we will continue with tomorrow. Okay. Have a good night. See you in just a second.